Welcome, everyone. It's time for the inaugural Middle State Rivals Series. Yes, you heard it right. Rocket League has come to Middle State for their biggest tournament ever. 10,000 Rand up for grabs. And I'm so excited to get to see it. You're going to recognize the teams here in this grand finals. White Rabbit Gaming versus Red Crown Esports. And making his inaugural debut as well for this is someone I've known for a long time from the Overwatch scene. It's SunPheonyx. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you and to Middle State and to Rocket League, the Rocket League community in South Africa as well. I'm super excited to get involved with the scene, start casting. You guys have obviously got a great group of casters here, regular casters, and hopefully I can sneak my way in there as well. Start getting in on these, but I'm excited to see some really top tier local Overwatch. Wow, we're gonna do it once, and that's the only time it's gonna happen. Some top tier local Rocket League today with two teams with an RLCS SSA pedigree. So this should be a lot of fun, Ulturism.
Yeah, that's the beauty, right? Is it's not just some random teams that we're getting to see today. It's teams that we've become quite familiar with over
Mhm.
the last couple of years. In fact, there Red Crown being the slightly newer of the teams, previously
Mhm.
Orion Aces, and a very interesting dynamic between these two teams. And yeah, the nice thing is, no matter who wins here today, both teams have secured themselves some money already. The second place gets a nice 3,000 Rand for them to start shoring it up, and the winner going to be taking away 5,000 Rand. So just 2,000 Rand, but more importantly, the pride of being able to take that first Metal State Rivals Series tournament. And SunPheonyx, I know
Mhm.
you're kind of new to the casting scene, but I mean, even you have heard of these two teams and the rivalry between them up till now.
Yeah, absolutely. New to the Rocket League casting scene for sure. But these two teams, as I said, RLCS pedigree. Funnily enough, both placing fairly equally into that fifth to eighth spot, both making the quarterfinals of the recent Winter Invitational. So on paper, at least when you look at that tournament, it seems like they could end up being evenly matched. And of course, there is some history if you go a little bit further back. Comic Con 2022, these two teams faced in the grand finals there. On that occasion, White Rabbit Gaming taking a 4-0. At the time, it was Orion's Aces, I believe, was
Mm.
what Red Crown was called back then. So it's a familiar scene for both of these two teams, both used to operating sort of near the top of the scene. And with teams like Limitless, Nixer, Orlando Pirates not here, it's their opportunity to really push themselves in and get some titles under their belt.
Yeah, 100%. You know, that's the nice thing, as being the first time we're getting to see this rival series. Not a lot of signups coming through there, but Mental State has assured us that there is going to be a lot more of this. Is
Mhm.
just the first one. So if you guys are just sitting here going, "Oh man, I'm sad that I didn't get to sign up for this one," don't worry, there will be future events. I'm excited to see more of our top teams in the region being able to come here, because these two have heard it and they didn't have a difficult run throughout the brackets. In
Mhm.
fact, both of them managed to take this pretty much undefeated in their 5-5 victories. So very, very nice way for them to get here. But now is the really tough part, right? Between these
Mhm.
two teams, like you said, historically, they haven't matched up a lot. But when they have, it's been on some of the big stages. And at that stage, definitely, historically speaking, White Rabbit being the favorites. And even in the RLCS, when these two teams, if you match them up on paper, we've got White Rabbit Gaming, who's currently sitting fourth in the region. So that's
Mhm.
that's kind of intimidating for Red Crown to come against, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as you said on paper, White Rabbit coming to this as the heavy favorites. You might even go that far as to say that. I think Red Crown going to have their work cut out for them today. Of course, the last time these two faced, as I mentioned, that was, I mean, like more than a year ago, almost a
Mm.
year ago at this point. So how relevant that is remains to be seen. But it was a 4-0 going the way of White Rabbit Gaming. As you said, both teams, though, coming into this not really having been tested at all up until this stage in the tournament. So for one of the teams, this is going to be their first real challenge here, the grand finals. I will say Red Crown did drop one map, one game to Realms, I believe it was. So
Mm.
they have had a little bit of a harder run through, and maybe that just speaks as well to the fact that, again, we think White Rabbit's going to come through here a little bit more easily.
Mm. That's that. To be fair, Realms is another one of those RLCS teams, and
True,
so it's
true.
good to see the depth of this region going all the way down there. And in general, it's nice to see that teams like that, who have been struggling to go into that top 10, still coming into these sort of tournaments. I mean, these
Mhm.
tournaments are there to help everyone get a chance at the big stage, get some good experience against top teams. And really try and make a new name for themselves. So to see them all the way down there, we've seen such growth in this Rocket League scene in South Africa. I mean, we're even pulling in famous names like yourself from other games there. You must
Famous
be doing
names, he
something.
says. Oh, okay.
Famous
That's
names.
exciting.
I mean, you're top Overwatch caster. So if you guys haven't heard of SunPheonyx before, get ready to be a new fan of him as we get into the game very shortly. It is going to be the very standard format for today. Best of sevens going through here. It was a single elimination bracket, so no weird bracket resets or anything like that. It's just 4 games to win this. And I must admit, I don't know if I'm going to see a 4-0 sweep just like we saw at Comic Con last year. And I don't know about you, SunPheonyx. I mean, over the years, a year or what, 8 months or something like that since then, this scene has seen some of the most amazing growth from people grinding as hard as they possibly can because of the massive amount of money that's been pumped into Rocket League in this scene.
Yeah, with the sort of birth of the RLCS investment, Psyonix investment in the scene, it's really pushed teams forward. You know, they're able to get coaching in international coaching, so that's really propelling them. And obviously, they get regular but infrequent exposure to international teams at Worlds and all those kind of things. So there really is huge growth in the scene, and my sense is that based on the little I know, obviously, White Rabbit is really been pushing themselves
Mm,
to improve greatly, perhaps when compared to Red Crown. So, yeah, I think you said you're not expecting a 4-0. We never want to see a 4-0.
mm.
Obviously, we want to see 1,000 games of Rocket League in a best of 1,001 games. So, yeah, hoping that we are proven wrong here and that Red Crown is actually very much a big issue for White Rabbit Gaming to go up against.
Yeah, SunPheonyx, you're obviously new to Rocket League because no one wants to cast a best of 1,000. But
I said we
well,
wanted to see it. I didn't say we wanted to cast it. Okay,
we
in my
will see it over
defense.
our live, but right now we're going to jump into the game, everyone. So please sit back, relax, and get to experience what we're going to see. SunPheonyx, can I bait you for your first cast into trying to make a prediction between these two?
Ulturism, you know me. I'm a numbers man. I think if the favorite team, if the one team is favored, I like to get my predictions correct. I think it's going to be a pretty strong performance from White Rabbit, as we've been suggesting, and I would go for at the very least a 4-1, if not a 4-0.
4-1 or 4-0. I give a little bit of credit to Red Crown. You know, they've been there and thereabouts. They're currently ranked on the RLCS rankings at number 8. So I'm going to give them a little bit more as we jump in here. I'm going to give them a chance to get that 4-2 against them. I'd go back to WRG as we come in there. We see a little bit of action. Of course, Red Crown out in orange. Daps taking the ball, trying to get it back towards the center, and some good early pressure coming out from Red Crown. Nice clears coming out there. And I think this is going to be a big part of what Red Crown needs to do. They cannot afford to give space to WRG, who's mechanically
Ooh.
very proficient. And they are going to take this away. And this is a really good start. Keep hammering that backboard. Not the greatest touch by Daps. He had the open net, but turned away by Weecasper to keep it goalless.
Yeah, just releasing the pressure there with that mistake, unfortunately. But absolutely, as you say, Red Crown, they want to control the tempo here. They want to really push White Rabbit Gaming to their limit again. Just one off the crossbar there. So Red Crown immediately setting the pace in this matchup today. Yeah, also one down, sends it across into the corner, but no, the coverage is there. And now pressure goes the other way. So be careful here when you're playing that far up. Every chance that the counter attack could just send you straight into hell.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, right? Is that counterattack's so pivotal here, and both these teams have that proficiency to be able to get down to the other side of the field very quickly. Tristan there lets it drop down, gives Weecasper an attempt for the 50, but it is turned away at least enough by Red Crown. Now it's going to be up to Scepter. Scepter being the reserve, in fact, for WRG, stepping up here. I believe it's Kino that's actually not on the pitch right now. Yep, Weecasper being the last one with friction as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that impact of that reserve has to play on a team. And I mean, no matter what game it is, a reserve can change the dynamics of any game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But at this level, the reserve will be part of all the coaching. He will be part of all the practice sessions, and he will be familiar with the team. But in Rocket League, especially, it's a game where you get into a real nice rhythm and flow with your teammates here. As the pressure mounts here a little bit for WRG. Be careful, Red Crown, just to limit their mistakes here and make sure they can keep that pressure going and build it into a goal. And it seems like they're just struggling to really keep it going, but this is very good from them, Ultras. I think we were a bit worried it would be super one-sided. That is unfortunate. I think just not enough boost for the defender to get up and pinch that one into the crossbar. Who was that? Tristan it was, and a little bit of fortune, I think, from WRG weak Casper there.
Fortune favors the bold, right? We
Yeah, yeah,
Casper
fair.
coming in there with aggression, getting that dunk, and the African bounce, as it was once coined by Greybeard back in the day. A very nice way to term it, because that just, it's so difficult to read, even if you're in the right position. And unfortunately, Daps just not having the good first touch that he really needed to keep control of that. The idea was there that you don't want to give away possession at any stage. But when it gets a little bit too far away and Casper's right on top of you. And now there's a long
Oh,
pin shot coming out there, comes to the
oh
crossbar, and it's actually an own goal of
no.
Declan to finish it off. But I think the damage was already done as soon as Casper touched it there.
Yeah, fortune favors the bold, Ulturism, and I think WRG are very bold today because that was another fortunate, unlucky touch from the defender. But I mean, as you say, the better you are, the luckier you get, and WRG have been peppering the goal with shots here, and eventually one of them is going to go in. So they're going to be happy here now, building up a 2-0 lead, 2 minutes left on the clock. We need to be careful there. Tristan fires back quickly, a little bit of a ambitious dribble across your own goal there, I'd have to say, Alvaro.
At this stage, he knew that Declan had that angle coming across there, and Friction wanting to do something, anything. He saw that no one was waiting in goals to be able to come past and to take it out. But like you say, just you got to have full control of it if you're going to expose it into the middle of that net. And unfortunately, just dispossessed there. And it's nice to see Red Crown up on the board after putting so much early pressure. They finally managed to convert it into the first goal. And you can see they've got a lot of confidence behind them, diving into it, maybe investing a little bit too much into this play.
Oh,
And
nice
they
play,
even lose
man.
the last defender. And
Oh,
that's the
very
problem.
nice.
When you've sent everyone forward, all it takes is one pivotal moment, and such a heads-up play here from Bawi Casper to get the pass across and then seek for that assassination.
Yeah, Scepter just open goal as you can like, but as you say, set up a weak Casper completely there. That's kind of what scoreboard pressure can do to a team, right? We did say we wanted to see Red Crowns play the more aggressive game here, play the more tempo controlling game, but you run the risk of, as we pointed out, just having the play go in the opposite direction if you're so heavily committed. So we see WRG playing a little bit of a more considered game, shall we say, and it's paying off dividends for them, setting up nice plays and moving it forward as we see Friction doing now. He's got time, 1v1, he sets it up, oh, but just pops over the net there.
Good defending by Daps, even though he was backwards. And I like what you said about the tempo. The idea about tempo, and I think this is where a lot of players get it wrong, is that tempo is not just driving as fast as you can constantly or trying to hit every ball.
Mhm.
It's about you got to play quickly when you have control of it. And this is a nice
Oh,
attempt coming out
nice.
there. Daps nearly finding his teammate on the backboard for the redirect, but it just gets turned aside, and it's WRG now into the attack. They're going to be denied. Declan in the air gets a nice touch, finds it down depth. That's a little bit too far forwards to be able to pick that up with any sort of momentum, and it's going to turn around straight away. Friction back towards the center. Tristan clearing it nice and controlling that backboard as he should be. Daps once more very far forward. Doesn't manage to get the 50, but Declan picks it up after a long pass across the field. Tries to
Oh,
put some pressure here on the blue goal.
yeah, nice series of play here from Red Crown, controlling the ball nicely from one end of the field to the other, both vertically and horizontally, as it turns out. But they've let it go a little bit here now, under pressure. But no, the coverage is there very comfortably in the end. But now the control is all for WRG. Goes for the flip reset there, we Casper. Good coverage, though, from Red Crown to prevent that from going in now. Lost the goal, but yeah, not really in a good position here. 3-1 here, 10 seconds left on the clock here. Red Crown not going to be able to take this game one, but I think Ulturism, a very strong performance. We were a bit worried this might end up being very one-sided, but from the evidence this game presents, I think we're in for a good game, a good series.
Yeah, 100%. Red Crown definitely with their opportunities kind of controlled it for that first minute, put on a lot of the pressure. I mean, they managed to pick up 5 shots of themselves. And we saw 8, unfortunately, coming out there from WRG, which meant that they just had more opportunities. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, that really does give you a couple more chances to put in the back of the net. And they took advantage of 3 of them, both getting aggressive when the defenders were a bit pressed back there, managing to control the ball in the midfield, then getting a couple of cheeky long little, or at least the one very nice long shot there by
Hmm.
Weak Casper to set it in. But it's certainly not over yet for Red Crown.
No, I mean, it's never over, you'd hope, in a game one of a best of 7.
Yeah.
But thankfully, We do have a game on our hands. It wasn't a clean sweep. It wasn't. It was, WRG. What I will say about them is they looked a lot more clinical in their execution.
Mm,
They looked like when they had control of the ball, they had control of the play, they had intention, they
mm,
had plans. We saw that play from Wee Casper coming off the wall, getting that demo onto Tristan, I think it was, and Scepter
mm,
just cleaning up. They're really, really well put together, this WRG team. So again, Red Crown, I think, are going to want to control the tempo. They don't really want to
mm.
just let WRG have their way with the ball.
Yeah, that's the thing. WRG is probably the mechanically more individually skilled players on the field. And when they get that, someone like Wee Casper going into the air is such a force to be reckoned with. He
Mhm.
can get way more touches than anyone on the field, including his teammates, sometimes think. And it means that he can carry it over one or two people. And then it just puts you at such a resources deficit on
Yeah.
your side for any team on the defense. And that's something that Red Crown needs to be careful of. If you start diving against these players, and here we see straight away Wee Casper up for this,
Oh,
waiting
double
for the
tap.
double, and sets it up for Scepter to try to take that shot. And that's what we got to see Red Crown being careful for. They're going to be putting on some dribbles of their own, though.
Good rotation back from Casper, though. Had it pretty much covered from its outset here. But Red Crown are building something here, but in position, go a little bit away. But Tristan now in position. He's going to try and dribble this one in from afar. I think if
Oh,
he had
no.
1,000 boost. Oh, no! That was a little bit of an error, I have to say. If I'd be so bold as to say that,
Yep, fair, right? This was nothing special from Tristan. He did manage to bait out Wee Casper, maybe not expecting that last little touch, but there was an extra person defense, maybe thinking Wee Casper had that.
yeah, miscommunication, I
WRG.
think. I'll show you.
Yeah. Miscommunication happens at every time, right? Especially when you're not 100% sure. Dap's there, putting it just wide of the open net. I think Red Crown would love to keep the momentum behind them. And WRG certainly going to have the intent to turn that around now.
Yeah, 4 minutes on the clock, obviously still plenty of game to be had there, but that's how you want to start a game, especially if you're the team who is not favored. You want to start building the pressure, the scoreboard pressure. You want to take control of the game here, as Red Crown have done so far, but now they're under a ton of pressure. Quite a few blue players here in the opposing half, as now the pressure gets released a little bit, but WRG here doing a good job of now shifting the tempo in their direction, playing aggressive, controlling the territory here on Champions Field. Is this Champions Field?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah, I think it is. So, and I don't actually know my stadiums as well as I
No,
probably should at
when
this
I was
stage.
watching that goal, Greybeard was like, he knew all the maps. I was like, oh god, I was supposed to know all the maps. But a great goal from Casper here, find the equalizer.
Oh, the dribble coming out from
Ooh.
Wee Casper constantly finds Friction after he loses control of
Beautiful.
the second touch, but he had already beaten two people, and so Friction, all he has to do, put it back towards the center and find Wee Casper, giving him the deserved goal after all that work in the beginning, and indeed, it is now going to be 1-1 between these two.
Very, very nice play from WRG, not letting any pressure get to them here. We don't really expect them to. With 4 minutes on the clock, there's still plenty of game to be had, and what a shot from Casper there. Finds the angle, sends it straight past the defender here. Red Crown now, they're going to be feeling the burn.
That is such a nice read, such a
Oh.
nice touch to be able to not just get in the right position, and with it coming from an awkward angle from him, he turns the car and hits it on that bonnet, managing to get as much power as possible and slides it in past the defenders. WRG, dangerous from anywhere on the field, and seems to be led here by Wee Casper, a person who's been well known in the scene for a long time. It's up to his teammates to do some work out there. Scepter, the reserve, manages to come in there and gets a good defensive play out there. Still, it's not
Oh.
alleviated just yet. It's up to Friction to try to turn it aside, and he manages to get it past Daps. Daps left in the corner now, gives Friction some space, and he and Declan going to be fighting it out. Declan pops it off there, going to try and follow this up, but not with a lot of control, meaning Wee Casper has the space. Tristan being so good in the air so far, controlling that midfield in front of the goal, and that's going to be enough.
Man.
Still, it's not over for WRG.
WRG just coming in with these 50s every time. Red Crown try and make a play back across the field under control. A WRG player comes flying in to send it back. Oh, speaking of flying in to send it back, Wee Casper, a desperate save there. Great play from him. He's been playing excellently this game so far. Both of their goals have been coming from him and setting up good defensive plays as well. But Red Crown are needing to turn the tempo up, and you can see them trying to build something here. Not trying to be too aggressive, not trying to just send shots across the map, trying to build something and go forward here. Declan, he's going to get the coverage now, send it center, no boost to make anything happen. And the cover is there from WRG. Now they're going to send it forward. Not a lot of defense available here, but enough to get the ball covered away.
Yeah. What's nice to see though for Red Crown is that this beautiful pass
Ooh.
across there, nearly making it happen, just not again this time. Friction though in the air, still the rotations from Red Crown out there. And like you were saying, Red Crown building things. It's not just random shots. You know, the stuff that's coming up on the scoreboard isn't just an impotent little slightly towards the goal. They're getting the passes together. They're looking for the control in the midfield, and they're looking to build it up with really good concerted plays. And I mean, that save from Weekasper was impressive simply
Yeah.
because of the power of the shot that came out there. It's going to be interesting to see if Red Crown can carry on doing more. Declan now trying to find Daps on the left-hand side. Unable to do it. Still manages to dispossess Scepter, and instead it's going to be up to Friction to do the good work. Passes it across there, tries to muscle it through. And instead, Red Crown just decides to go full pace there, testing Weekasper on the backline once more.
Tristan there says, "Excuse me, sir, this is my ball," just barreling through his own teammate there to take it forward. Always gets a goal of that. Now we'll get the block here and look to play it forward. WRG, though, are playing a very considered game here. They know they don't need to score more goals. Obviously, you want to just secure the victory here. 3-1 at this stage, I think, pretty much secure the game for them as they look to come forward here. Declan, it's one off the backboard, but now play goes the other way. Casper in control. He's been a menace. He's passed one up to Friction, going top bins, but Declan has it covered very effectively, but it's not over yet. Ulturism WRG still pushing the play forward.
Oh, this is what really defines a good team, and you can see why WRG, one of the top teams in the country, is their awareness of how to work together as a team. It's not about getting individual skills up there, and they've certainly got that, but their ideas, the way that they want to approach these shots are so good. Double coming out from Weekasper, doesn't manage to get it in the right direction. They're great attempts. And with 10 seconds left, it seems like WRG have done enough work for now. One more attempt. Red Crown trying to find it up there. Good, clear attempt by Tristan, but they're going to have to try and keep it up if they want to try and pull back anything in the series. Weekasper actually going for the cheeky play, tries to keep it up, and this may give Red Crown one more opportunity, but first they got to get it out of their side of the field. In fact, they're just going to give it one more goal. WRG unrelenting.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep the pressure building. I think, though, Ulturism, this game felt a little bit closer than the first game. I don't know if you agree. It felt like Red Crown, obviously they got that first goal out, and that always helps. But it felt like they were a little bit more on top of things here, holding the play nicely. The 3-1 feels like it's not that good of a reflection of how the game went, especially since that last goal kind of ended up not really mattering, coming right at the death there. But I'm excited. I think Red Crown seems like they're getting a good rhythm going. Understanding the play. We saw fewer mistakes from Red Crown, I feel, in this game than we did in the previous game. So maybe a little bit of finals jitters, grand finals jitters. Both these teams have been in a grand finals before, as we mentioned earlier, so they're both familiar with that. But that was like a year ago, man. A lot changes in a year. You forget how to operate in this high pressure situation. So maybe just getting into that flow again.
Man, that big match temperament, it gets to all of us at this stage. And you got to say, WRG, probably the more practiced when it comes to these big matches, that they've got to try and keep that mentality together. And Rocket League is such a mental game right now. And so far, it seems WRG is holding it together. I think the first game was probably a little bit more concentrated, concerted, consistent pressure coming out there from Red Crown. Whereas in the second game, Red Crown looking for more of those burst style plays, a good pass across there, which gets hammered in there. And it is now going to be going to a game 3. So certainly we don't ever dictate a full best of 7s by game number 1. But when you start getting 2 games in, and maybe what this third game needs to do is turn some tempo around, or it really could be a very difficult road back into this. I mean, at Comic-Con last year, what is interesting is even though that was a 4-0 sweep, it was 3 overtimes in a row at the end there to clinch it out there. And so we do see a Red Crown team that's very good, or at least very comfortable playing from behind or under high pressure, and it certainly could be interesting to see what they can do there, and starting off with some good pressure.
Yeah, very, very good start from there. From Red Crown here, just getting that shot in, peppering it. Scepter did end up having it covered here. But here comes the shot, putting under pressure there. 2 men committed, but Scepter will come in the rescue. But very much Red Crown in control to start things off here. Goes for a cheeky double tap there, does that. Won't find it on this occasion, but they're still pushing forward here. They're putting shots in, but that might just be the shot. No, keeping it forward here. Good territory control from Red Crown here. Mistake from Friction. That could be a disaster. Does he get it in? Yes, he does. Tristan, the opportunist, comes in here and picks up the pieces that Friction left on the ground.
A single mistake is all it takes. And even in the chat there, Friction going, I'm sorry, understanding how pivotal that was. Still well played by Tristan to be able to get that angle down. They didn't have a lot of time, had to come in quickly, but seizing the opportunity and gives Red Crown again the opening goal in this series.
Yeah, very, very good for them. Again, they're under pressure a little bit early doors here. RWRG, only really a minute off the clock here, as we saw from the previous game. They've got the capability of sending things back in their favor here, and that's a pretty loose ball here right in front of the goal. Scepter in control, but the coverage is there from Tristan, going to send it across, but danger is not over yet. Ulturism now, another cross comes in, another shot, but good coverage once again, and that might be what Red Crown need. There was a big commitment from WRG. They go across, daps over one, he goes for the pass, but they ends up taking it out there, getting the shot down. Declan gonna dribble it over here. Great control from the man, drops it in front of goal. Good coverage from Friction though to get that one safe.
Man, we talk about the individual Prime West coming out from WRG. Red Crown certainly have their own aerial dribble capabilities coming out there. Such good control, and it's not the first time either from this side. So very interesting to see if those can pay off. Unfortunately, WRG up to the task for now. Still, it's putting them under a lot of pressure. That was a very dangerous moment for them. And another one coming up here. Red Crown trying to get it back in there. Weakasper and Friction both going up for this. Weakasper has to keep some control. He loses it. Daps has this in the center of the field, but he's unable to read it off the roof, meaning WRG get away from that brief moment. We nearly have a rule one there, or nearly getting locked in there, getting a couple of the community riled up if you break one of those, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know what the idea is in competitive play like this, but if this was a comp game, absolutely you'd catch some flack for breaking a rule one. Scepter control the ball for the meantime, and this has been all WRG the last 30 seconds or so, trying to move the ball forward here, trying to find a chink in Red Crown's defense here. It's been really good so far. Tristan's got that covered comfortably. Won't be able to look to build this up here. Now Casper in control here, center field, but Tristan gets the coverage, and all of a sudden pressure released, and now Red Crown will start building play towards the enemy goal here. Can they find an angle? Not just yet. Scepter with a nice bonk. He should be able to gain control over this, but this is a bit of an awkward ball here.
As the defenders, you don't mind if it's in your own corner, though. There's no real angle to come there, and you can sometimes even bait in some of the attackers to go a little bit too hard. And talk about going a bit too hard. Red Crown doing a couple of different double commits throughout this. They're playing at a very high pace, and it sometimes means that it goes right where you manage to link those together. But if you get it wrong, WRG, a team that can punish it, and talk about being punished. Weakasper pays with a life there, managed to get it over the top, but didn't keep any control of it from the grave.
Yeah, I went for the man, not the ball there, did Tristan, I think it was. Just absolutely deleting Weakasper from the game, and that's part of the game demo. A nice coverage, again a bit of a double commit, but a little bit more desperate on that occasion. Two players up on the wall here again, so starting to find their zones a little bit, and Daps has to come to the rescue here, but maybe Red Crown can convert this here. Weakasper, he gets ahead of him, and Declan, plays it through Weakasper and finds the goal. A 2-0 lead here. Only a minute left on the clock. Ulturism. This might be the 4-1 we were hoping for. Perhaps Red Crown got something to play for.
Man, Weakasper hesitated for just a second as that ball came off the wall. He was in an aggressive position, and it did end up paying dividends here for Red Crown, being able to take advantage of that very quick play, managing to use that aggression to come forward all the way across the field. With a minute left, 2 goals, feeling a lot more comfortable here for Red Crown. Still, they've got work to do. Friction puts in a shot, bats it aside by Declan, and finding it a long way down the field. These big clears are really nice from Red Crown in terms of relieving the pressure. Sometimes it does give away possession a little bit more than they'd probably want, but at the end of the day, as long as you're not getting pinned on that back foot, it seems to be working, at least in game number 3.
Yeah, absolutely it does. I mean, whatever they're doing is working in game number 3. 2-0, 40-ish, 35 seconds left on the clock here. Now in control of the ball and the player as well. Tristan gonna look to play it forward here. Declan's gonna just vacuum up some boost there in the corner, as you do. And now moving forward. And he does find another goal. That is a 3-0 lead. That is unassailable at this stage of the game, Ulturism. So I think Red Crowns can feel pretty confident going into game number 4 now.
Man, son, you and I were playing a couple of games while we were waiting for the stream to start. You said, I don't know who you're playing with, what pros you're watching, but the double taps are not that common. Well, from this level of player, you see them coming out and what angles you can get them from as well. That was so high above the net. What an incredible play to come out there. And suddenly Red Crown has found their feet. They are certainly not worrying about that big match temperament at any stage. They've managed to come through and really a good, strong showing, not just a 1-goal lead to be able to take this. 3 goals at the end there. Even if WRG managed to come back and get that single one, they aren't. And it means we've got a series on our hands.
Absolutely. 2-1 lead now for WRG. This is the most important game to win if you're down in a series, in my opinion. If WRG take this game, that's a 3-0 lead in a best of 7. You're under constant pressure, Red Crowns. If you lose any game at that point, you are out of the series. If you're forced to reverse sweep, you have to play perfectly, no mistakes. But when you relieve the pressure here now, this is critical for Red Crown. They are still very, very much in this series. They win the next one, it's all tied up. We've got a best of 3 going into the last 3 games. So this is critical, I think, for Red Crown series. When you talk about building a series, you never ever want to get to the position where you need to reverse sweep to win the match. So I just want to point out, in my defense, I was talking about the level we were playing at. Okay? There's no double taps happening at that level, at least not consistently. Just in case people think I'm like, oh, what's a double? I've never seen a double. That never happens. That's a myth.
Anyways, we are very emphatically below these guys, right?
Absolutely.
Like you can see the difference in level between us just sitting at that little champ rank versus these guys definitely coming through. Most of the guys on the field are at least a grand champ, and so very good. And I like what you say about that, especially the mentality that comes out for a team like Red Crown. You don't want to be sitting just because of how pivotal the mistakes can be, but if you're sitting 3 games down, it certainly does hit you mentally that you haven't managed to do anything yet. The fact that even if they go down to now, they lose another game, WRG takes it to match point, they already go, we could do this. We won one already. We just need to do it again once more. It seems like it's going to be an interesting series going forward. There's certainly not a sweep by any of these teams, and one of your 2 predictions there out the window. I'm still feeling good about my 4-2 here from these 2. But up to WRG to see if they can try and wrench this back, or is this the beginning of the Red Crown snowball?
Under pressure here a little bit now, our Red Crown here, just looking to get this ball out of the danger zone. Casper sends it into the danger zone. A very slow, awkward ball. Everyone missing it. The ball, well lubricated, I guess, on this occasion. But thankfully, eventually, Tristan will take control of the play here and send it forward. Ooh, that could have been dangerous, but Friction has it nicely covered. So very even game to start us off here, a minute off the clock. I'm interested to see how WRG respond now to having dropped the map. You know, the momentum has shifted here, Ulturism.
Yeah, 100%. I think the big thing for WRG, if they want to take control of this, is to capitalize on the fact that Red Crown is giving away possession a little bit too much. You see it there once more, gives it off to Casper. And if you can get Casper a little bit of space on the field, it's really good for them. Instead, Red Crown, using their aerial dribbling prowess, I think is a really good way for them to approach getting the ball to the other side of the field while keeping control of it. You know, keep it nice and high. Don't let anyone from WRG just grab hold of it for free. And I think that would be really nice. Instead, the long clears, not exactly what you want to do from Red Crown unless you've got the intent to follow it up. And even that's a little bit risky. As we see, come back towards the center. The pass was beautiful. The finish just so.
I shut your mouth about the long clears, Ulturism. Look at that. Long clear, good control from Declan here, and Tristan absolutely in perfect position to pick up the pieces there. So Red Crown for the 3rd game in a row now, Ulturism. They're going to start off with the 1-0 lead. They weren't able to convert it in game 2. They absolutely emphatically were able to convert it in game 3. So we're going to see now getting game 2, game 3, and it's game 3, Ulturism. Declan in control, a huge aerial dribble here into a beautiful flip reset. Time to perfection. Friction left with nothing to do.
Man, that is pretty. That is exactly how you execute a flip reset. That was wonderfully carried the whole way through. Full control. Even had the mentality there to go underneath the last player. Doesn't just keep trying to bat it up 1, 2, 3 more times. Instead, gets in underneath it and scoops it at the last minute. Such a nice play for them to come out there, and it gives them the 2 goals. Those are 2 nice quick goals in the first half, meaning that they now have a little bit of time to try and defend this, but at least that little bit more of a margin. 2-goal margin, you're feeling confident. It means WRG may be starting to show some cracks, whether they're going to be able to come back as a team and be able to just like work together, or are they going to fall prey to that very typical mentality of, no, I need to do this. Oh, it's big and open in the center. In fact, Tristan going to be giving himself a little bit more space as well. WRG certainly more pressure than they were feeling in the first 2 games.
Yeah, this is 5 goals unanswered now, Ulturism.
Yeah.
It was a 3-0 in the previous series, it's a 2-0 now. WRG have not scored a goal since the end of the first game, right at the end, the second game, right at the end. He scored their 3rd goal, but Declan now he's going to be moving it forward here to the opposing corner. WRG will be happy with that, but they won't be happy losing a player now as Casper moves it towards Scepter. He's going to send it forward, but the coverage is there. Red Crown doing a good job just preventing WRG from building a play here, from getting set up and controlling the ball moving forward. But maybe this is the chance off the ceiling here. Nobody there to pick up the pieces though.
Nice touch, forces Scepter from a difficult position to try and cut that off from the center of the field, and WRG finally getting up some pressure. The ball hasn't really left this orange half for a bit, but there's no linking passes coming up here. Scepter even getting knocked out of the way there. Beautiful camera angle to see that as well, and just meant that cut down the offense. And hey, if you can't play the ball, but you're not going to cut that one off there. The pass from Weekaspig finds Friction in the center of this field. Just really nice recovery. And Declan just challenging it a bit late. Tristan pushing up very aggressively as well, abandons the net and leaves it open.
Not the first time we've seen Weekasper and Friction hook up with a nice ground pass like that. The last time it was Weekasper with beating 2 with a dribble, passing it off and receiving it back to score the goal. This time Weekasper the assist, and really, really strong play from WRG. You need to be careful, that's not a good enough clear. There's the cover there. Weekasper, how did he get back to that one?
Miraculous save coming out there. The first one was way softer than he would have liked, but doing the work. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. And luckily for them, no one else from Red Crown pushing forward aggressively into that attack. Still, there's the pressure, the possession coming out here. Nice dribble coming out here from Weekasper. Now gets it on the bounce, gives it away a little bit softly. We worried about Red Crown doing that earlier. WRG fall prey to that. Instead, now all kind of open in the center. WRG managing to pick it up, and once more, Scepter, the victim of a regicide.
Regicide. King Scepter taken out here as Red Crown now look to send it in. Some soft plays here in general from both teams, not able to strike the ball with quite the power that they would like to occasionally here, but 10 seconds left on the clock. WRG need to do something here. Dead ball in front of the goal. They send it forward now. 4 seconds for WRG to make the play. 1 goal down. Might be the opportunity for them. They send it up, send it forward. Red Crown though in control here. This looks more like a Red Crown play than a WRG play, unfortunately for them, but they do send it forward now. The coverage is there. He will knock it down, and Red Crown will even up the series.
Good idea at the end there to just kill it, right? You don't want to mess around with a team that can carry it and has carried it a couple of times, but look at the difference in shots coming out now from the earlier games. There's 8 for the side here of Red Crown and only 3 coming off the side of WRG. Big difference between there in terms of tempo, and a lot more defensive work that's coming to come out. Apparently throwing it down to the other side of the field told me to shut my mouth earlier. My friend, you may be right. In fact, whether it's, to be fair, both those goals came off air dribbles. And that was my point, was don't give away the possession. Keep it under your control. Get it up into the air. Take it far away and get that pass towards the center. Or if you're Declan, just get the nice little flip reset at the end there. Beautiful.
So easy, right? You just go and the flip reset happens. I don't know. It's like a miraculous display here from Red Crown, but that is an even series now. Momentum is completely shifted, Ulturism here. WRG now totally on the back foot. Red Crown, you can see they're even playing with a bit more confidence. Every game, well, the last 3 games, they've opened up with a 1-0 lead. Are they going to be able to do so again? 4 players in there. The coverage is there. Daps picking up the pieces and picking up the 1-0 lead for the 4th game in a row now.
I love this mentality from Declan. That was a beautiful play. Manages to come across quickly, doesn't go for the shot because it's covered, so chips it up. Realizes even when he goes up for that second touch that there's two people jumping for you and goes, I don't actually need to score this. They have committed everything into this play. I beat all three players. All I need to do is make this as easy as possible in the center and makes it work. If I'm not mistaken, Declan was also the one to get that first pass across in the last game. And the Red Crown showing some proficiency. History definitely not going to be repeating itself. And it seems like Red Crown ready to dethrone the usurpers.
Yeah, absolutely. It does seem that way here. Seem that way. WG though, they're going to try and make something of this, but the coverage is there once again. We've seen that a lot. WG struggling to make a play, to build a play up here. 6 goals unanswered now. Ulturism, I think. So they're struggling. As I said, momentum shifted now. Red Crown going to move forward here. Coverage is available here for WRG and Scepter now. He's going to try and build something forward with the air dribble, but the coverage once again is there. So Red Crown, they're happy to just match WRG in the air here. We spoke about their aerial prowess on the side of Red Crown. WRG, we know how good they can be in the air, but Red Crown are just saying, it's fine, go in the air. We'll just sort that out and we'll make stuff happen there, as they almost did on that occasion.
Oh, nice pass comes out again. No one coming out there because of the demo. No one wanting to really dedicate for that third person. This is dangerous. Daps managing to get in the way. And it's a good point that you bring up. The fact that WRG is one of the most aerially proficient teams in the region. And so you take that away from them, as Red Crown is doing right now, because I haven't seen many teams come out there. What you've got to be worried about is those shots from the ground. Friction with pace and with precision finds the top left-hand corner. A good pass from Scepter. A little bit of a risky play, throwing all three players into that corner, but it's not risky if you can make it count.
Yeah, absolutely. Friction with a seriously nice shot there. It's not easy to hit that angle with that power, but he makes it work. That's going to be evened up there. Their first goal in 6 from Red Crown. So maybe this can be the turnaround of the momentum. WRG will obviously believe they can win this, obviously. Oh, that could have been disastrous there. Fortunate for WRG that Friction, or sorry, not sure who that was, didn't manage to get that one sorted out. They are moving forward here. The demo comes out. This could be huge. Can they get it in off the wall there? No, now they need to be careful of the counterplay, but Scepter getting all kinds of caught up there with the Red Crown player.
Scepter is being bullied right now. I actually do feel a little bit. It must be so frustrating to be on the ball, have a good opportunity, and then absolutely dispossessed bodily by your opponents. And right now, Red Crown doing a good job of keeping their composure in the defense. They're going very aggressive. Just in fact, even with no boost, decides to try come in and make this play. And that's a note for newer players. You don't need the big boost pads all the time. Sometimes just get to the right position and on the way, pick up the boost that you need, and it does work out. It does make you a very dangerous asset to deal with. Now we see Red Crown just trying to get it out once more. A little bit more of a stagnant play as we hit the middle of the match. 2 minutes left on the clock, and with both these teams, what a series this is turning out to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of us won't name names or worried about 4-0s or 4-1s, but Red Crown have really shown up today, and they've looked a better team for a lot of this series so far. And just need to sort out what's happening in this corner here a little bit. Yeah, they will do so effectively. Declan now going to convert this into some aggressive play off the wall here in Weecasper, though has it covered, but here comes Daps. It's now in a dangerous position. Friction has it covered, but not that comfortably. Safe in his own corner, but for how long as Declan sends it into the center? But Scepter, he's got it covered, will not be able to carry that one on through, but the pressure is now building. WRG, Friction going to go high here, but Declan has it under control. Once we see matching them in the air here, Ulturism.
What is interesting is to see Red Crown not pushing as aggressively. We've seen a couple of really nice passes towards the center that normally finished up, or at least pursued very aggressively by Red Crown. This time being a little bit more cautious. And I don't know if I like that. They were doing so well once they put that foot on the accelerator and glued it there. Now they're giving WRG more space, and WRG looking aggressive. They've been putting the pressure on this orange net for too long. Red Crown struggling. Declan being a great person to start off these attacks in general. So maybe that's just the call. Wait until he is in position. A couple of big missed plays there from Red Crown did give an opportunity to WRG. Still 30 seconds left on the board. It will really come down to this last goal. Maybe even our first overtime.
Oh, surprising it's been our first overtime in what has felt like a very even series, but the scorelines haven't necessarily reflected just quite how even these matches have felt. WRG obviously dropping a lot of goals in a row there up until this point, but 1-1 now, 10 seconds on the clock. Can this be? Oh, that felt a little bit loose from Friction there, but the save does come off. Scepter going to cover it off the wall there, not quite able to catch that one. We do head into our first overtime here.
This is what I'm loving to see. This is what I want to spend my Saturdays doing all the time, is seeing two teams evenly matched, fighting it out all the way to the end. Right now, it seems like WRG a little bit more in the driving seat, but Red Crown have shown some beautiful breakout plays that have come from nowhere. It all starts with someone like Declan taking it up and getting a good pass across. Now the ball given away in front of the orange goal, popped away nice and high. Declan beaten to the air by Scepter. Scepter finds Friction in the corner. Friction going to carry on with that aggression. Tristan managing to beat out two of them though. Wants to chase a little bit faster. Even gets the pace off the wall with the wave dash to try to send that home, but none other than Wee Casper waiting for it in the back line.
Yeah, it looked pretty, but it was covered pretty much from midfield by Wee Casper. He had that under control, but some nice play from Tristan there, looking to get the power off the wave dash. Now looking to play it to the center, but Casper now under control. But so far in this overtime, Red Crown have really had the lion's share of possession here and control. WRG struggling now to alleviate the pressure. Every clearance that goes out comes right back in, not really getting a good control of the match in this overtime, but now maybe they can build something. Friction, Casper sends it in, the save is there, but it's still very loose over the top here. Scepter going to come over the top, but no, good coverage there from Dax.
Yeah, that was 100% the most important moment right here for them to try and defend, because that could have turned out good shots, good defense, good save that had to come out, but afterwards that cleanup means that they had so much more work to do. Instead, Red Crown now wants to try to get back into the attack. They've taken control. It's a soft shot. It's just going to test out Scepter. So one more save getting credit there. And no more big passes coming in through there. Nearly the demo coming out, but just a bit late after Wee Casper done the work. Daps getting a bad touch there. Gives it off to Friction. Friction trying to find it around here. Wee Casper was in the center. Daps going to get credited with the save. Tristan going to pay with his life as we see Friction turning around, ready to re-engage here as Red Crown want to clear this out, but they've got to get it quickly. They cannot afford to let this blue team push up too far.
And a very physical passage of play for the last minute or so. Ulturism, a lot of demos, a lot of bumps, a lot of touches going awry here as now Red Crown look to center this one up. Perhaps look to come across there, create some chaos in the goal mouth, but not able to do so. The dunk comes out, Casper moving forward, but doesn't have any resources here. No boost to speak of, no boost anywhere on the map. Casper totally dry. We'll pick up the big one there, but the cover comes out from Red Crown now off the top. Friction in control, going to play it into his corner and look to build the play now.
Man, I cannot believe the difference in the scoreline between the first couple of games as we see one more attempt. Red Crown denied by Wee Casper once more. Definitely the MVP coming out for WRG. Finds it towards the center. Once more, this is a loose ball. You can imagine there's Tristan on the backboard. Looks for the double touch. Tries to turn it into a pass. And up and down these walls, these Red Crown players are trying to roll it back and forth in front of the goal. All it takes is one moment for them to really try and get it into a position that one of their charging in attackers are coming for. The double demo, though, leaves us open in the middle. Friction coming across there, unable to capitalize on it. And we're already nearly 4 minutes into this overtime without a goal. That's a nice pass up towards the center. Tristan's on top of this, and he nearly pushed that pass. Wee Casper, of course, the person to do the defensive work.
Yeah, always seems to be Wee Casper there coming into the rescue there. Whether it's on attack or defense, they get it done. Daps now forward now. Friction has this more than happily. Cover's got so much time here. You can read a book, make a cup of tea here. This is a whole nice extra game of Rocket League we're getting here. Ulturism, almost 4 minutes, as you said, as the pass goes in. Covered, just not quite, but nobody really in position to take advantage of that for WRG. So now as we go 4 minutes into the overtime, is this opportunity, a great touch, but Daps not able to get control of that in the moment, but this is huge pressure building from Red.
Yeah, pulling defenders out, forcing them into the corner, gives it away. Daps in the air now, starting to get up. We haven't seen much aerial play coming out from either of these sides right now. And Red Crown, that was definitely their strongest play. Instead, trying to bounce it around, sends it towards the center. Nice commitment to that attacking play. Means that it keeps it in the blue half, and it gets up. Tristan's the one with the shot, and he gets the goal.
So beautiful there. Coming across, two players ready to gobble this one up as Dap sends it across off the back bar. WRG not really in a position to stop that. In the end, it's Tristan with a beautiful movement across the face of goal in the air. And of course, it's in the air, Ulturism. That's how Red Crown do all of their business, it feels like. And I mean, there you go. Red Crown now, they're in the position. They're up into the ace match here. Next game they win is the series. So WRG, momentum totally shifted.
Well, it seems like neither of our predictions is going to come true at this stage. We
Yeah.
both gave it to WRG with a maximum of 2 for Red Crown. They've already picked up the third, and they're, like you say, on the verge of winning this right now. What a way to change up the predictions here. And all credits to Red Crown. They've looked
Mhm.
a little bit worried in the first couple of matches. They were really struggling to get composure there. They were getting themselves a little bit out of position, maybe committing a little bit too hard. But those commitments coming in there, they've now managed to get the communication. I think it's communication probably that's
Yeah.
linked together. Either that or they're just starting to hit the ball a little bit more cleanly into areas and have such good follow up because of that aggression that they're
Mhm.
able to start running a couple of circles. Certainly not driving complete circles around their
Oh,
opposition,
yeah.
but the attempts from both sides there really culminating. And basically, 2 full games of Rocket League. What it does
Yeah.
mean, though, 2 games of Rocket League is what it's going to take for WRG to bring it back.
Now, I will take this opportunity just to remind everybody that WRG are playing with their reserve there.
Mm.
And I think that is a critical element of what we're seeing here. I suspect if Kino had been in, we'd see a lot more composed, clinical looking WRG. That's not to say Scepter is not on the level or is performing poorly or is bringing his team down. But as we said earlier, Altruism, in a game like Rocket League, the way you hook up with your teammates is so critical. And that comes from hours and hours and hours of playing as a unit, playing
Yep.
as three. You have this sixth sense of where your teammates are going to be at all times, and how your teammates like to
Yep.
approach. And as I say that, here comes the man himself. See Kino
Kino
back in the mix.
Kino's back into this. Apparently, WRG ready to pull out all the stops right now. They're back to their A squad, and Kino has been a person who has garnered quite a few fans in the community, certainly from his individual brilliance and the aggressive plays that he's able to go in and straight away into the aggression. I don't know if he's completely warmed up right now, and it means he's got a lot of work to do. If he isn't, he's going to have to pick it up very, very quickly, but doing
well,
so
there you
straight
go.
away onto the scoreboard.
The impact sub making an impact here. Kino straight onto the score sheet here and comes across. And look at that. Beautiful. So much power from an angle that's pretty hard to generate power. So, I mean, maybe this is it. Maybe this, it kind of makes a bit of sense, right? Altruism. You know, Kino is an international player. He is based in South Africa at the moment, so he is eligible to play. But you bring in your sub here for a tournament that is a little bit smaller than the likes of RCS, where you do want to put in your best. So you give Scepter an opportunity to show his stuff, to get game time in big matches with the boys. And that's a bit of an error there. Two players kind of sandwiching the ball between them, but the pressure will be relieved. But I kind of like that from WRG, giving the sub an opportunity. But now that they're down, Kino's like, wait, no, hold on, let's just sort this out here.
Maybe that's also just Scepter being like, I am tired of being knocked around this field. I
Yeah.
come in for one game and I get bullied right now. So, Kino, go back, teach these guys what we can really do as WRG. And so far, it's off to a good start. 2 minutes into this game, it's a long shot across there. We do see Tristan up for this one, nearly trying to find it, but I don't think he had the boost to really be able to do anything with that or get that last couple of inches that he needed to. Tristan now misses the boost and unable to then carry on that momentum, just leaves it up to Friction. Friction trying to find it a long way down the field, does find Weak Casper a bit wide on that shot. Means that it does get turned over. Red Crown once more into the attack. That's not a good play, though. Gives space for Kino. Kino looked dangerous on his first attempt. Tries to find it towards the center. Weak Casper with the intention completely of going for the demo. But Friction unable to get there in time to make it count. And instead, it could turn around for a counter goal. But once more, who else but Weak Casper looking after that goal line?
Yeah, very, very nice play from them. Try to go for a bit of a team there, perhaps a bit of miscommunication there. Weak Casper going for the demo, Kino kind of laying the pass out for him there. So unfortunate for them, they won't be able to increase their lead. But this is the first time Ulturism in 4 games now that WRG have scored the first goal in the match. So they're well set here. to win this one out. But 2 minutes left on the clock. Red Crown playing with intent, moving forward. But yeah, it just seems like WRG is just a little more put together this game, more clinical, fewer mistakes, and really, really controlling the ball when they have any opportunity to do so. As I say, that this one goes a little bit awry, but Kino, he's in position to sort it out.
Meanwhile, it seems like
Oops.
Red Crown struggling to keep up with the difference in pace that Kino brings to the field. They've missed a couple of big opportunities there. They seem to be a little bit more
Oh.
chaotic in the way that they're approaching this. We've seen some big double commits coming out there, and it might cost them eventually. It's cost them once already.
Mhm.
Still, it's given them a couple of goals throughout the series, and so I'm not too worried about it. It just happens to be the flavor that is Red Crown Esports, and right now doing enough to keep themselves within one goal as we head towards that final minutes. And still WRG looking around, looking,
Oops.
poking, prodding, and that next goal will be pivotal for either of these teams.
Absolutely, and it's with oh, shot goes in. Declan just kind of leaves the defender out to dry there. A perfect shot here. The corner that wasn't being covered by the defender. Look at that. He just couldn't get back in time. Casper has been so good on the defense, but on that occasion, just drifting forward from back post and giving himself a no man's land there. So Red Crown, it's just to remember, guys, this is match point here. If Red Crown do win this, it doesn't matter how well Kino plays. He's not going to be able to rescue WRG from the 4-2.
Oh my goodness. What a pass to come in there. What a nice way to finish it off. And like you say, you test Casper in the background enough times and eventually something's going to work. Tristan now finding his way back towards the center, nearly muscling it past Kino. Kino, though, showing to be the more gains player coming out there, having that ability to just charge his way through his opponents. Tristan now going to take this up, gets one touch, gets it past one, finds it down towards Casper. Nice handoff by Casper. It leaves Daps in a difficult position. In fact,
no.
a bad enough position to give Kino, the super sub that you were talking about, the opportunity to get his second.
Yeah, a little bit of an awkward position there for, I think that was Daps, just kind of left out to dry and friction. Kino, sorry, with an easy shot there. So WRG now once again in control, 30 seconds on the clock. This kickoff could be pivotal here, and it's going the way of WRG. They might just want to score one off the kickoff, but no, coverage is there fairly comfortably in the end. But as I say, that ball will come back across here. WRG are playing with intent, they're playing with fire, they're playing with aggression here. They're looking to increase this lead, but they need to be careful on match point. But this is what you want to see from a team under any situation. Control the tempo, play to your own strengths.
Shots coming in there. Oh, that good play up onto the backboard, forcing the third man to come up, or at least inviting the third man to come up there. Great play from Daps to try and set that up, but it may be a little too late right now. Kino being the one, and deservedly so, getting that MVP medal, picking up the 2 goals and 8 centered balls. A different pace coming out here. Still a very close contest, and what a deserved way to take us to a game number 7.
Yeah, and Kino comes in and makes a difference, but it's not a dominant performance from WRG by any stretch of the imagination. You always worry when a team is playing with a sub and then they bring in their main man that they're going to be a totally different team. They're going to be so much better than they were before. We spoke about how important it is to have that rhythm with your teammates, but Red Crown, they are staying with them here. A 2-1, very close game. We were 30 seconds away from having a second consecutive overtime. But now we do head into the rubber match. 3-3 in this best of 7 Ulturism. Who could have predicted it? Definitely not us, as it turns out.
I'm so glad to be wrong. That's the best part about this, is when we're wrong, we get to see all 7 games. And like you said, we wanted to see as many games as possible. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing you as many games as possible. We are going to be settling this now once and for all. And my dream, I don't know about you, SunPheonyx, but my dream is always to even go to the overtime there.
Oh,
Considering the last 2 games have been within a goal, it certainly would be fitting right now. It's going to be interesting. My interesting thing there was also that I feel that wasn't Red Crown playing at their absolute best in the last game, and it still was a 1-goal game. So if they can step themselves back up and maybe adapt towards that nice save to come out there, I think if they can adapt towards Kino in the field and the difference in pace of the entire match, this will be a cracker of a final match.
Oh, this could be a disaster. Is the coverage there? Not quite pace there. Didn't quite have the pace there. Tristan moving across the goal, and Kino, he's not going to miss from that angle. Big power shot across the face of goal there, and Tristan flailing as he wishes his Fennec had hands that he could reach out and pop that one off the right-hand side. But once again, every time a team opens up with a victory, with the exception of maybe game 2, I think it was.
Yeah.
That team has gone on to win the match. So WRG sitting pretty here. Kino once again being the difference maker.
Interesting. Declan setting himself up for that flip reset, but it was too early in the play to be able to really get any sort of power out of it. Instead, wants to drag it a little bit further through the air. This time, testing Kino on the ground. Kino picks it up quite comfortably, turns it around, and chasing it a long way down the field. In fact, even decides to go up and fight Tristan's ball line once more. A couple of double commits coming out of Red Crown, and it means that they don't have any extra man to try and challenge that as it falls down on the blue side. Gives away possession to WRG. That's a nice pinch towards the center, but it's too fast for any one of his players to get on top of it. Friction now trying to work it in there, trying to get anything onto this. Tristan doesn't have a lot of burst, but he at least gets a decent bump onto Weak Casper. Still, Kino being the player that you need to watch, and Weak Casper, Friction just waiting for their opportunity to strike.
Oh, needs to strike in that direction. No good. Actually, back past their Friction to Weak Casper there. We've seen those players hook up together so beautifully, so many times. This could be dangerous. Declan, though, no! Kind of ruins it there for his teammate. Tristan, I think it was coming in, but I think the defender had it covered in any case. So, not the biggest missed opportunity there, but it's not the first time we see them kind of not playing into each other's hands here, Red Crown. It feels a little bit like they're getting flustered. Covered there by Daps very nicely with the half flip. It feels like they're maybe getting a bit flustered, maybe not communicating as well as they were at the beginning, playing with a lack of confidence here, because double commits are most often a result of not trusting your teammates to have the play covered. And at this level, you really want to have full faith in your teammates.
Yeah. You know, when you're pushing yourself to the limits that these two teams are doing right now, and you can see that they need to. Both teams really have to stretch out all of their legs to be able to get even the smallest margin against their opponents. And when you do that, you end up just playing a little bit too fast to be able to reliably count on your teammates. There's no time for the communication to come in there, and so that trust has to be implicit. It's a nice pickup from Tristan. He gets it past two. Manages to actually bully Friction into a bad position, but the shot coming out from Daps, not able to do any more. Friction recovers in time. Declan now going to be the one to turn it away, and 2 minutes left on the board. It's not a lot of time for Red Crown, but there's always enough time, even to the last second. That's the advantage of just keeping this to a single goal. WRG would love to have a second to take this convincingly.
Taps looking for a cheeky low flip reset there. Doesn't come off, but they are building pressure up very, very nicely here. Our Red Crown just controlling the enemy half, and you can send a shot in like that. It should be covered by Friction, and it is just barely, but they're putting them under pressure here. Red Crown now in control of the match, but it's the risk to take. But no, Tristan is very, very comfortably in position. They're ready to cover any long shot attempt here. App's going to be doing the same on this occasion. So Red Crown, they're finding a good rhythm here. Some mistakes early on, some double commits, some forward touches. Speaking of forward touches, Casper sends it up here for Kino. Can he get in? No, he can't. Good coverage there from Declan on the defense.
Oh man, some risky moments, some high tension moments from both of these sides. I love to see it right now as we head towards our final minute. WRG, they had such a good start to the series. Then they were put under all the pressure, and it seems like they're going to clinch it off at the end. They decided this is our game. This was always our game. We were never in worry, and we're going to show you why.
They put on a show for us, WRG. So kind of them to drop those 3 games in the middle of the series. But then they said, enough's enough. Kino back in the mix here. Game 6 was close. Game 7 so far is all WRG, at least in terms of the score line here. Red Crown, a minute left. They're going to have to come up with something special here. 1 goal won't cut it. 2 goals is what you need to send us into an overtime. Ulturism, we wanted an overtime, and we are relying on Red Crown to get it done. Is that going to go in? No! Friction covers it into the post, and unfortunately, Red Crown, one opportunity goes awry, and you really can't afford to lose any time.
Oh, another touch comes out there, pushed back out, defended once more. Weak Casper, a brick wall in the back line, taking care of these blue goals. It seems like Red Crown, they've had their opportunities. We said it from the beginning, even from game number 1, even from the first 10 seconds of game number 1, they were hammering that goal line. And they just didn't manage to crack through enough times there. The handoff goes there. Tristan trying to pop it up, a cheeky goal. And once more taken out there. Declan finds it, but it may be a little, too late with only 8 seconds left on the clock.
As you said, Ulturism, if there's 1 goal in it, anything can happen. 1 second, 8 seconds, 7 seconds more than Red Crown need here technically speaking, but it's going to be rough here. Kickoff could end up being critical. WG can get control early on. That could be good for them, but this is good for Red Crowns now. They can start to build something from the back. Perhaps ended up the WG are going to want to kill this. 1 second on the clock. It's in a good position here for Red Crown. Can they send it through?
No!
No! Unfortunately, Daps not able to get under that one and send it on target. So it will be WRG taking the 4-3 victory.
I mean, the scoreboard's disappearing quickly at the end there, but even the players that were left, you could see the number of shots, the attempts on goal from the Red Crown players. They tried everything. They brought it every second of the way and gave us one hell of a show. And well played to them. Good congratulations. This is certainly not what we expected coming into this, and certainly not what history would have us believe.
Mhm.
But it is going to be White Rabbit Gaming claiming the victory here in our first ever Metal State Rivals series.
Really, really solid stuff from Red Crown. Of course, the story here is WRG take the 4-3 victory, but the biggest story, in my opinion, is that Red Crown, really, really showed up in a huge, huge way. But as we've mentioned now many times, WRG were playing with a reserve, and once they brought in their full three, they looked a much more clinical team. I think that was the key. Fewer mistakes. Yes, Kino seemed to bring a mechanical depth that Scepter didn't quite offer, and you could see how he was looking up just a little bit better with Wee Casper and the third player whose name is eluding me at this moment. But really, really solid stuff from both teams here, and I think the scoreline is a perfect reflection of how the game felt.
Yeah, 100%. It's Friction, by the way, is the
Friction,
last
thank
member
you.
there. Give credits to this White Rabbit Gaming side. Really well deserved. Well played by all of them. You know, we talked about Wee Casper, especially early in the series, being able to put on some great passes, great shots there, doing stalwart work in defense. But when he and Friction were linking up in those attacking plays, it was beautiful to watch. And you don't create those on your own. That's the power of Three's Rocket League, is the ability to work so well together as a team and back each other up. The rotations were there. And it seemed like even with Kino coming in there, it certainly didn't dramatically change the dynamic,
No.
right? As it was still one goal in it for the two games that he played. It just happened to be one goal the right way for White Rabbit Gaming, taking advantage of the increasing number of mistakes being made by Red Crown. And that was disappointing to see. Maybe just pushed to the absolute limits. But still, considering these are the two teams that we did get to see at the end of last year's Comic-Con, I am so happy to see how the scene has grown and what sort of players we've started to develop here, because the aerial prowess of people like Declan being able to set up some of those plays, and I would love to be able to see that flip reset goal into a
Yeah.
montage at some stage, because that is something to be proud of.
Yeah, very, very solid play from Red Crown. For me, though, my player of the match, you didn't ask, probably shouldn't put myself out there, but I really felt like Wee Casper was a big, big
Yeah.
difference maker for WRG there. On offense, he was sharp, he was creating plays as well as scoring goals. And on defense, he always seemed to be that last man to the rescue, always in position to make something out of nothing. So I was very impressed with Wee Casper. I think maybe if Seek, had been in the match from the beginning, I might have a different story. He seemed to, as I said earlier, have a bit of mechanical depth that he
Yep.
could have really expressed himself on the match if he'd had another 5 games or whatever it was. But at the end of it all, I think WRG Wee Casper really, really impressed me.
Yeah, 100%. Wee Casper, I know you didn't ask me either, so
Who
but
was
Wee
your
Casper,
player of the match, Ulturism?
Wee Casper, 100% as well. You know, he is one of the longest standing members here of this WRG side. He did phenomenally well across the field. He's one of their best playmakers, being able to use his aerial prowess and those air dribbles to be able to create opportunities, or at least draw out the beginnings of an attack for this
Mhm.
WRG side. And it's definitely, he's even one of the youngest players in the scene. I think he's under the age of 20 or around that age. And so
Sure.
a very bright future ahead of him. And I'm very excited to see what WRG has in store. In fact, they are going to, I have a little bird told me that their team is going to get even stronger, putting in Eliakim as Kino at the end of the RLCS, going to be going back home to the States. And it means that Eliakim from the Orlando Pirates going to be coming through, meaning WRG certainly a team to watch out for in the future. I mean, they've proven themselves in the past, and I can't wait to see what that means for them in the next couple of years.
very exciting. You said the teams are growing, but the whole scene is growing.
Yeah.
Investment from SunPheonyx to RLCS, opportunities that all these players are getting, and of course, tournaments like this, Metal State
Mm,
putting on a nice tournament here, 10K, a nice little. It's quite a few chicken nuggets, Ulturism here that you can walk away with after an off afternoon's worth of Rocket League. So, and we see it's the teams. We don't have the top three teams here. We've
mm,
got just that next layer of still
mm.
extremely, extremely talented teams. But now they get to come, they get to play in these grand finals, they get to show their stuff. And
Mm.
that is very, very exciting for Rocket League in South Africa.
Yeah, definitely. And you talk about that. I mean, Red Crown is eighth currently in RLCS rankings, and they're still fighting it out with this team currently ranked
Hmm.
fourth. And that is really good for me, is that we get to see the depth, how low down these teams can go and still put on a really good fight. And it just comes from playing in these sort of tournaments. And if you guys want to play in these tournaments, we talk about the investment in the scene, the growth of the scene. Metal State is wanting to drive that as well. This is just the first of the Rivals series. We are going to have a lot more of these in the future. They have promised me personally that we're going to be seeing more Rival series. So you will definitely, I'm sure, want to play in them if you're a competitive player. If you're just a casual watcher like me and SunPheonyx here, you can definitely tune into those as well. We're going to be broadcasting a lot more of those, seeing more of this amazing Rocket League. These intense nail-biting action is going to be here all the way through the next couple of months/years. And it means that Rocket League is alive and well. If you do want to keep in touch with those, keep up to date when to register, where to register, or just where to catch the action, definitely check out the Metal State social medias. That's Metal State on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to join on their Discord and come join us, chat to us, or register for these tournaments, it is called, of course, discord.gg/Metal State, making it really nice and easy for you guys the whole way. Absolute pleasure to be here today. SunPheonyx, your parting thought after your first ever cast.
I mean, could you ask for a better introduction into anything else? A 4-3 series, close all throughout, no one-sided stompy games, a nice 4-minute overtime mixed in there for good measure. I couldn't be happier with my first game of Overwatch, and I'm excited to see how these teams especially develop. These are my first teams now. These are the teams I'm going to be following going forward. WRG, Red Crown. If they ever do well, that's my team. They did well, even though they don't know who I am. I don't really know who they are either. But I'm excited to see more Medal State tournament action, and I'm excited to see more Rocket League tournament action in general.
Well, we'll definitely make sure to get you back on. Guys, I'm sure you can join me in congratulating SunPheonyx for a fantastic first cast. It was a hell of a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to keep up to date with him, if you're now a fan of SunPheonyx, just like the rest of us, then you can follow him on social media at SunPheonyx, spelled just like his name
Just
below.
like that.
Myself,
It's very important. It's spelled
very
incorrectly in
important.
so many ways.
He makes life difficult for us. The rest of us, really nice and easy. At Metal State on all of them, or at Ulturism if you want to follow me on Twitter. I'd always like to hear it. Let me know what you think of this. Or big shout outs to Metal State in general, of course, the Don and Phoenix Tears in the background, keeping this production going. Love the work that they're doing, being so easy to work with in the
Mhm.
background. But that brings us to the end of today's action and to the end of our first Rival series, guys. We'll see you in the next one. I really do hope you take part, or otherwise, just come say hi. It's been such a lot of fun. Until next time, keep well, though. We'll see you then.